He'll probably be here in a sec. Just, obviously quite busy. You know, because he's,
Hey! Alright. Bradley. Alright, mate. How you going? Marcus, you. Woo. Dougie, you're reprobate. What is it? Alright, mate. We're all here. Oh, God. You been waiting long?
Can I just... 45 minutes.
No, I've still got me own. Those are shit. Oh. Should we start? Yeah. Okay. Oh, from the beginning?
Yep.
Oh, 1981. Oh, Adam and the Ants. Who could forget that?
No, it's not
Boy George.
It's not I Love 1981.
No?
No, it's we're talking about The Office.
Brilliant. That's an excellent. I wish it was I Love 1970. Space Offers, Swizzlers. What's all that about?
Yeah, we're talking about The Office. So, before we start, why is it called How I Made the Office, just by Ricky Gervais? Why is it
It is How I Made the Office.
Yeah, but why isn't it How
DVD.
We Made the Office by Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant? Too long? Just your name shorter? Thanks. The thing about Ricky is that he's the most irritating man I've ever met.
I can't deny that he's got a capacity to be irritating.
Why is he irritating? So many reasons.
You know, from things like going like that for literally no apparent reason.
He's like a child who's drunk too much orange squash with tartrazine in and has now gone a bit wild, and you need to calm him down.
He does willfully try to destroy a scene.
He's going to keep doing something until he gets a reaction.
He loves it, don't you?
Like, it's a joy.
Yeah, he loves it. I do like,
Yeah.
he loves all that. I do, don't you?
Exactly.
I go, "Hey,
Don't do
Reggie."
it now. Seriously, don't fucking do it now. Because I'll go mental.
And he's touchy.
Slate 22, take one.
Smiles slightly. You know, there's something funny she laugh. It's just...
I remember I had to have a single shot on me, just looking really a bit put out maybe and stern or whatever. And Ricky was just...
I'll be sick.
Jeez,
Do you mind? Can you give me that bin? Seriously.
that smells like a pocket.
Dawn, give me that fucking bin.
That smells like a
That's
pocket
still
of
over
egg.
there. Put it over there as well. And then that should keep it going now until we, you know.
Do they stop belching and stop passing?
My friend Robin says I've got two moods. One is and the other is I can't believe it. I'm gonna have someone fired. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's total hypocrite. It's like, you know, anyone else makes a single bit of noise, boom guy drops the boom in shot, I can't believe this. You know. But him kind of clicking, dancing, making noises, that's fine. There was one bit where the people who, because it was like a real office an empty real office, there was a real office next door with people working, and they just came to complain about the noise.
That is true.
And it was like, it was supposed to be a set that was desperately quiet with just a little scene being played out.
Yeah.
And he's there singing, screaming, shouting. Like, and it's because like he's the star, he's allowed to do that because it's
And
like,
so
I'm going to be stressed if I don't do it.
And that was terrible. I fired the location manager and I said, why put us next to a grumpy office?
Exactly.
No, I've got to jump around like this. And I said, I've got to squeak and jump around and let off fireworks.
He tends to touch sometimes. Be a little bit upsetting. Puts his arm around you, feels with your hair, you know, and he says, "Hey, come on, you know, just because you like a bit of a kiss and a cuddle with another man doesn't make you gay," which, you know, I've thought a lot about, but I think it does. I think it does.
But the thing about TV is that they literally, time is money. And so that, you know, you've got to get everything right first time. You've got to be on the spot because, you know, the clock's ticking.
That's why I'm... Go on, what are you
I was
going
just going to say, that's why I imagine you deliberately try to jeopardise every single take we do.
I was going to say that.
He'll do things like just add lines or stupid names to try and surprise the other actors.
Action!
You don't often see a pure silk for $9.99, so...
Action!
$9.99 pure silk, so... I had to snap it up. OK.
Action!
And Wally Burton, 2 for 10 quid, so I went, yes, please.
Action!
And Nobby Burton came round, 2 for 10, I went, yes, please. Got 4.
Action!
And, you know, deaf Nobby Burton, who comes round with a case, 2 for...
Why are you making it harder for yourself?
OK, I'm sorry. OK, I'll just say Nobby Burton, who comes round with a case. 2 for 10, I got 4.
A lot of the stuff that ends up in the office comes from me mucking around and annoying people. So that's what I say in my defence. It's my art.
But to be fair, I remember that when we were making the pilot, we did a whole sequence where we did all the talking heads that Ricky does, and then we just left the camera rolling, and I would sort of interview him as though I were a real interviewer, and he would just kind of talk as though we were Brent. And I think a couple of ideas and things come out of that. But most of the time he would say something and I'd utterly ruin it just by cracking up.
One of the, I suppose, occupational hazards of being a laugh is that they think they can have a laugh, and they can, but not at the expense of me and the company as a whole without humour involvement. In that sense, I mean, they can't...
I'm sorry.
without the humour involvement. By that I mean, I don't mind a laugh during work or instead of work. What I don't enjoy is what I call the anti-laugh, where it's at...
I'm sorry. Can I just leave and you just carry on talking? That won't help.
It's what is called by me the anti-laugh, and that is anything goes, thanks very much, have a laugh, find the funny side of life in everything, okay? Have a laugh at yourself, please. Have a laugh at me with my blessing, because I will with you, but don't make the mistake of the laughter of hate. I first met Stephen. I was working at XFM, which is a local London radio station, and I was the head of speech. Well
If you've
done.
heard him speak, that's ludicrous.
I know.
And the head of speech was like, he had to cover, like, he had to be involved with all the speech output, the news, the competitions. Do you know what I mean? He had to have a perfect grasp of communication.
So I'd blagged the interview and got the job. Well paid, wasn't it?
Very good.
Good. But then, when it launched, I had to do stuff, which was
That was the problem, wasn't it?
annoying, and I knew nothing about it. So I went to him and said, look, the workload is mental. I need an assistant. And they went, sure, this guy knows what he's doing. And I met Steve, and I basically said, listen, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got to do loads of stuff, filing and stuff. If you do all that, I'll let you get away with murder. And which left me free to do more important stuff.
Like rolling around on your chair in the office.
That was one of them.
Yeah.
Boating on Regent's
Yeah,
Park.
golfing.
Yeah.
But then I joined the BBC and I was sort of training there, and I had to do a training day, like where they gave you a camera crew and you had to make a short film. And most people were doing like documentaries and things, but Rick had this kind of character that he used to sort of muck around and improvise in the office when we worked with him.
It was just a thing called CD Boss, which was more an observation on sort of like a lecherous boss who was sort of smarmy, and I mean, it was David Brent. I don't give crappy jobs. If I give a good job to a good guy, and then after a period of time he comes to me and says, thank you for that job, David, I've done that, I want to move on, I want to better myself, then I can make that dream come true too, aka for you.
We shot it with the office that Ricky used to work at in the University of London, and just used some actor mates of mine.
Air conditioning, computerised, totally.
So I think it's hermetically sealed, isn't it?
It's just our text, I think. But I mean, it knows what temperature it is, what time of day it is, whether you're working or not. No, we couldn't do it. It's illegal. The reason we shot it like a documentary was time,
Just because
really,
it was
wasn't
quicker. It was just a quicker way. We only had the camera crew for a day, so that was the quickest way to shoot everything. And then if time's against you and you just point the camera at the character and let them talk, you don't have to change the camera angle or anything. It's really simple, but you can get a sense of the character. So.
And I really love the talking heads in the show because we shot like a documentary, we couldn't do things people wouldn't do in front of the camera. They can't shut the door and, you know, take a line of coke, or they can't blur out things they're thinking because it just isn't true. But ironically, when they're by themselves and they're just being filmed, they're a little bit more honest. People do let their guard down because it's flattering when a camera's, pointed at a normal person, they think, this is my chance, this is my platform. I can tell the world all my great philosophies on life. And, of course, they open their mouth and they blow it and they can't take it back. Like now.
Exactly.
People, they could come to me, they could go, David, sorry to bother you. You've been in the business 15 years. Can you give me a couple of words of advice? But they don't. That's the tragedy. There was points in it that were almost toward the surreal that we decided that we wouldn't have because we really just wanted a normal person. And there's just little bits and pieces that wouldn't sit well.
I think there's a bit where you put some lipstick on or something.
Now, what is your category of... Right, so if I want to look at this, start your survey with your
Right, so if you select one, so it's a small block, and you can go to the box. That was, I think, the first time Ricky had done any acting kind of properly, and it was, that once that got made and that little demo tape existed, it got passed around, and that's how he got onto the 11 o'clock show and things like that. And yeah, he was an absolute nightmare. And we only had, the clock was ticking, and he was like, well, if we commit, that'll be fine, that take will be fine, let's go down the pub now. I've got the thing which I filmed of us just rehearsing, just an empty pint glass. You can just see he's just thinking, bar will be closed soon.
Yeah, I'm acting faster because I've got...
Yeah, absolute nightmare to work with. And now you're marginally better.
Isn't that weird?
It's strange, it's good, you've learnt so much.
Yeah. People say, oh, well, will fame change you?
You were always obnoxious.
Yeah. Hour and a half. We went at 1:45. After the little pre-pilot that we shot ourselves, our little demo pilot, the BBC commissioned a script and then a real pilot, if you like.
The script seemed quite good, and I went along and originally read for Gareth, and then I think I was sort of on my way out the door, pretty much, actually, and then I read for Tim.
I was always imagining him a lot more like Norm from Cheers. I think he was going to be quite fat, wasn't he? And
yeah,
that kind of wisecracking in that way.
I had 3 callbacks, I think, for the part, but I mean they don't let you know that it's a close thing, and you might not get it.
Some of the people we ended up with were not as we'd imagined them originally. I mean, I remember when Mackenzie came in as Gareth, it took some persuasion. I wasn't convinced at all.
I didn't realise Stephen didn't think I was the right man for the job.
I'd imagined him as much bigger and much more kind of militaristic.
Obviously the skinny, weedy guy won through in the end. But I can play Butch.
But what was exciting about Mackenzie is that because he's got this, he looks very fragile and vulnerable, not like that we first imagined. We found that we could give him more and more ridiculous and horrendous lines, and you still didn't mind because of his, little bird-type face. I don't mean like a woman. I mean like a little baby bird, like a little fledgling pigeon who just hatched too early. And there's a sort of sweetness and vulnerability about Mackenzie. Vulnerability?
Ah, yes. Language is your tool.
Ah, we can cut.
We can put a subtitle up.
Vulnerability about Mackenzie, and that was nice. I don't give shitty jobs. When a good man comes to me and says, "Thank you, David, for the opportunity and the continued..."
The official BBC pilot that we made is pretty much the same in terms of its plot as episode 1 of the real series. But there was some strands we cut out. There was a whole sequence where Dawn tells Tim a joke, which is that one, did you see that film last night, Gaylord Say No?
No.
That means you're a Gaylord. You see? It's a classic school playground joke.
Oh, yeah.
You just got it?
Yeah.
And so she tells him that, and then they sort of play that joke on the cleaning lady.
Say it back to me.
Did you see a film, Gays?
No. Did you see that film last night? Gaylord Say No. You get it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Gareth, did you see a film last night, Gaylords?
What?
She was wondering if you saw that film last night, Gaylord Say No.
No?
That means you're a Gaylord.
I'm not a Gaylord. What's a Gaylord?
Oh, yeah. All right.
And then there was a whole different sequence about how Gareth finds out that there's going to be redundancies at Wernham Hogg, and he's really upset that he's, the last person to discover this information.
The old shares. Ooh, oil. Somebody got their fingers burned.
David, hi. Listen,
Mr.
I need to know if there's anything that you've heard, any rumours that you've heard from the head office.
Anything that...
You got stuff on your face.
Oh, that's probably ink on your paper.
Just making it worse.
Have you got a tissue? Or, sorry.
No.
Have you got a tissue?
Right.
What's that?
That's not mine. It's the first one I picked up.
Is it your mum's?
Yeah, mine are twice as big as that.
I've got a lace.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Well,
well, no. I don't.
Will you do it
I
then?
haven't got a mirror. But Dawn! Don't want that.
They're all talking out there. There's rumours going...
Slow down, slow down. Who's talking?
Everyone's
Have you got a
talking
tissue or a
because...
hanky or something like that?
No, whose is that?
That's his.
It's my mum's. Mine are twice as big.
Without the lace.
I'm team leader. I
yeah.
should know. I'll be the first one after you to know.
Yeah, right. You're the first one after me to know. Okay. What? Don't. What's that? That's. Don't put your. It's. I meant to spit on it, so it's my spit on my face. I don't want it now. Don't bother.
I feel I've got a responsibility to the staff
Gareth,
to know what's going on.
Say what you mean.
Jennifer came in here this morning.
Right.
As soon as she's gone, now there's all rumours going. Dawn, actually, this is a private meeting. Could you?
What's all this about us losing our
Joan,
jobs?
this is a private
sit
meeting.
down.
Yes, Mr. Brent.
To the door.
I don't think that I'm being frankly, I'm a little bit insulted that, if there's
Why are
stuff
you losing jobs?
Can you give us 2 minutes?
Sit down. Welcome.
I thought it was supposed to be a private meeting. It's just... Right. Okay. As team leader... Oh, this is pathetic. Right, I called this meeting. Thanks for coming. I called this meeting because...
Gareth, sit down. Right. All it is the powers that be have deemed
Oh, right,
it
so now you're telling them, are you?
Well, yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Well, it's my meeting, I called it.
To find out what's going on, so I'm going to tell you.
In front of everyone else. Yeah, go on.
When we look back at the pilot, it just felt a bit too much like it had become a sitcom with a beginning, middle and an end.
Yeah.
If you watch a real documentary, they've pieced together that from stuff that happened in real life. So we wanted to get that sense like we'd cobbled it together. And
I was genuinely panicked, wasn't I? Because I thought it was the sitcom that we always said we wouldn't make. And we just really G'd ourselves up and said, right, we're going back to basics. We really wanted to do something. We were sort of thought we were making something new. Well, we hoped we were. And we didn't want anything that...
But I remember you described it as better than Dickens. Didn't you?
Yeah. It is. And that's Shakespeare.
Gaylord.
What's up? Hey, what's up? I love that.
Why I think some of it looked quite real is because obviously I'm not an actor and I don't care about hitting my marks or where I should stand. And Steve would go, well, can you at least just, speak up a little bit?
Face the right direction.
Not really. Not really, no. I'll just do it this way.
Well, you do think that everything you've guessed is probably the truth.
Yeah.
So if you guess it's something, you assume that's actually how it's done.
I'm not a trained actor.
This is amazing to find out. He's not.
No, or a trained director.
He's got nothing.
No.
His CV is empty.
Yeah. I haven't got a CV.
No.
Never needed one.
Yeah.
He'll be on a single of him or a talking head, and he'll be more worried about the lighting. Learn the lines. You wrote them. Okay?
I think the difference between our show maybe and other sitcoms which are set in office is that there always seem to be too full of incident. It's like there's people kind of doing one-liners and being zany and falling over and doing crazy stuff and getting into amusing scrapes, which is not what the experience of being in an office is like at all. It is just about kind of monotony, often if it's a job you don't enjoy, which is occasionally interspersed with, someone making a joke or something kind of. So we wanted lots of sort of sequences between the jokes, if you like, of just people working. And there's something lovely and kind of empty and boring and static about just someone sat typing at a computer.
I mean, I know sort of drama or whatever is life with the boring bits taken out, but we left some of them in because they can be the funniest bits. And so, you know, we didn't top and tail scenes so cleanly. We liked the dwelling on, you know, a bad joke or, you know, a nothingness.
Yeah, what's funny about a bad joke is the agony of that silence after a joke has gone flat.
Have you heard,
have you heard Michael Jackson's new song he's doing? No. He's teamed up with West Ham football team, apparently. Yeah. Doing On Forever Blowing Bubbles.
She's not a football. Tell her later.
The frustrating thing as a writer is that you had to get around this camera being there. Because we couldn't have exposition, we couldn't have, you know, people doing things they wouldn't do in front of a camera. It was a bind. But what we could use is the advantage of that is that it would up the agony. And that's where that came from. That was the joke there.
What you find as well, especially with the romantic plot, is it's like because the camera's filming them, they can't show their emotions for each other. They can't show their true feelings, you know, Tim and Dawn. So it means that it's almost like you've sort of some kind of Victorian seething kind of melodrama where, you know, suddenly just him touching her or her touching him, that's as much as a kiss. It means as much, you know.
A kiss becomes a shag.
So it becomes a kind of, you get that nice kind of electricity between them.
Sorry.
Ooh, can I have this when you've finished?
Yeah, you can have it.
When will you be finished today?
I don't know
Probably.
when I'll be finished.
Oh,
Maybe we could share it.
I know that Ricky and Steve worked hard to get that right because it could have fallen on its face. It could have been embarrassing or just simply not worked.
The first time I really got Tim and Dawn was after I saw the last episode on the reruns the other week, and for the first time I thought, I know why people have got really upset about that. And my mum rang me about 2 minutes later in tears.
It's not just a farcical comedy. You know, there's poignant bits in it that people do care about. That when Gareth thinks that David Brent might be leaving, and he goes in and breaks down. Oh, that's it then, is it? The old team on the scrap heap. Poor old Gareth. You know, I am fond of Gareth. He's a wally. But yeah, I'm fond of him. Oh, this is stupid.
Yeah, it is. This is stupid. It's so. Sorry, mate. What do you want? Laurel and Hardy was a constant reference point, which sort of came out in a little bit in Tim's looks to camera. I mean, not that they're completely Ollie-esque. I mean, I never went, you know. I was working last night, actually, on something, and I actually couldn't stop doing it. I think it might ruin my career. So by the time you people are seeing this, you really won't be seeing me again. Because everything I do now, I can't stop going like that. Which is a problem for any actor.
The other people in the office at the desk, which weren't particularly main characters, but rather than getting extras or supporting artists, they were all proper actors.
Hello, you're through to Keith.
Ewan, who plays Big Keith, was just a real treat because he just came in and he was just sort of sat there typing away. Then you give him a few lines and you realise he's got this whole kind of character that he's created. It's just this kind of deadpan, you know. I mean, I don't know if that's what he's really like.
Well, we still don't know whether that was his best naturalistic acting, and we just found it funny and he thought, well, I'll keep quiet, or whether he knew exactly what he was doing. I'd like to think he knew how funny it was, because it's great.
Well, he's watching this. He won't mind me saying he's an oddity, man. He's a freak. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like if it was 100 years ago, he wouldn't be in telly, let's say. I mean, not only because it hadn't been invented yet.
One of my favourite scenes is where, in episode 5, where he's just talking to Tim and they're in the smoker's room and it's a really tight shot and he eats a Scotch egg at the end. And it's a joyful scene and it's, you know, his performance of that is impeccable.
What did you watch on telly last night?
I didn't watch telly, I watched the video.
I watched that Peak Practice.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Bloody repeat.
It's annoying, isn't it?
Not for me, I hadn't seen it. Boring, isn't it? Just staying in watching Peak Practice with your life.
Yeah.
Not for me. I like it.
Yeah, I just stayed in, had a big wank. Yeah, that scene was, it was very hard.
Because Ewan's so consistent, the arm kept coming up on exactly the same point every time to eat the Scotch egg. And Martin could see that in his peripheral vision. And once you think of something's funny, that's it, you're done.
After about 5 takes, and I looked through and like Ash and Anna and, you know, and Ricky and Steve are all sort of like going, come on. And I thought, God, I really might not be able to do it. You know, I thought I might not actually manage this.
Boring, isn't it? Just staying in watching peak practice with your life.
Yeah.
Not for me, I like it.
I'll just stay.
That was so good. That was so good.
Boring, isn't it? Just staying in watching peak practice with your life.
Yeah, it is.
Not for me, I like it.
Yeah, I just stayed in at a big...
Not for me, I like it.
Well, I just...
Boring, isn't it? Just staying in watching peak practice with your life.
Yeah.
Not for me, I like it.
Well, I just stayed in at a big wank.
Boring, isn't it? Just sitting in, watching peak practice with your life.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Not for me, I like it.
Ricky likes to remind me that it did take 13 takes. I would like to remind him that just kind of maybe walking down a corridor for him took about 40. You know what I mean?
I knew he was going to go because he would suddenly go, and his face would just do that.
What's the difference?
A dwarf is someone who has disproportionately short arms and legs.
I'm so sorry. We've been saying that word now for an hour, and suddenly it was funny. I couldn't take it. Suddenly, the word midget was remarkably funny.
Right, here we go.
And action.
What's the difference?
A dwarf is someone who has disproportionately short arms and legs.
I don't know what I'm going to do. What's the difference?
A dwarf is someone who has disproportionately short arms and legs.
God almighty, I'm so sorry.
And action.
Oh God, okay, 1 minute. Sorry, Joe.
Okay. And action.
What's the difference?
A dwarf is someone who has disproportionately short arms and legs.
I've no idea how I'm going to do this. Wait a minute.
Action.
What's the difference?
A dwarf is someone
Fucking
who has...
hell! You actually feel that you're never going to be able to do it. You think, well, if I never do this, what happens? Do we run over by a year? What would happen if I could never get this scene? And it panics you.
And yeah, and TV's Ricky Gervais is... Well, he's not autistic, but he is like a sort of... Well, not even like a girl, that's an insult as well, but... what's the PC way for giggling buffoon?
Scene where Dawn is eating her lunch. She's just eating a sandwich and she's really minding her own business and she's on her own. And David comes up.
I had a bit of a scare earlier.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought I found a lump. I examine myself regularly. I get checked out. It's fine, but terrifying. Testicular cancer. Cancer of them old testicles. What's that?
Oh, God, that was a great one.
We'll do it again.
Please.
We'll do it again.
Damn.
What made you go? Don't run
Nobody whatsoever moved.
No, it was my fault.
During this.
No, it wasn't. It was no one's fault. It was mine.
And he can barely get through a take without being so impressed by his writing genius that he has to ruin it with laughing, you know. Doesn't even have the sort of humility not to laugh and say, oh, what I wrote isn't actually maybe that funny. It's like, no, I am a genius. I'll ruin the take. Oh, again, yeah, you know.
No, he's not based on any one person. He's sort of a Frankenstein of all those types, those bosses from How. The whole programme is basically nailing types and observations. It's very much a, ticking off office observations. And David is one of those. I mean, the most important one of them, sure, but just one of the main one. People have said to us, like with David Brent being bad at his job and rubbish and he should be fired. If you just walk around the BBC for a day, you see people who are, people who are rubbish keep their jobs.
In very important jobs as well.
I mean,
we're talking about executives.
The only analogy I can use evolutionary-wise is marsupials survived in Australia because there were no predators. And that's very much like the BBC, because no one from the outside is coming and going, what are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing? How long have you been here?
If they took a John Harvey Jones in there, it'd be decimated.
There'd just be me and Steve.
Yeah, it'd just be the two of us doing a lot, plate spinning.
Why isn't Variety still as big?
I bloody love Variety, Rick, and I wish it would come back. You don't see enough of the song and dance men. That's what we want back.
Do people go into plate spinning, or is it like handed down? Like,
No.
son, I've broken a couple, but these are yours. I'm going to be a doctor. And you go, all right.
It's not as popular as it was, plate spinning.
I don't think they are that unsympathetic. I think, Brent, you should sort of feel sorry for it.
Gareth he's a right wally, but, he's all right, really. He's harmless.
The only person that you could, in real life, not like is probably Chris Finch, because he's a bully. And he's one of those people that when he walks into the room, he does say funny things, and you laugh, and then you go, it's my turn soon.
And someone asked me, like, oh, Brent's such a bastard, but he's not. He's a tit. He's a twerp. He's a knob.
He's all those things. He's a twerty tit knob.
Exactly.
A twerty tit knob.
Yeah.
I like bosses like that, because you get away with murder. All you have to do is laugh at their jokes, invite them to 1 in 5 drinks, and that's it. He's your mate. And it's like teachers at school. You soon learn that you can go, Mr. Morris, what bike have you got? And they go, well, it's a Harley Davidson. And you got through the lesson. That's it. He talks about his bike. And it's just getting on the good side of these people, because they're not nasty, they're not malicious. And very often, they want a mate. I mean, I don't think they might want to jump on you and impregnate you.
Yeah. Is that some story you've got to tell?
Wow. I was always told when I doing English O level, write about what you know, and it's so true. It's so much easier.
Yeah, that's why you want our next project to be you as a man locked in a futuristic prison.
Well, yeah, I've been. It's called brain jail, and it's only your own conscience that keeps you there. Because I imagine that's what it'd be like. I'm working out as well. I'm going to be I don't want to use the same body I used for Brent.
Right.
Because.
Well, it's very flabby and doesn't look so good in a vest.
He is, isn't he? He's a flabby bloke, Brent. But this one won't be.
Well, not just flabby, fat. I mean, downright fat.
Yeah.
A bit of a bloater.
Whereas Scott Carson, crime he didn't commit. He was probably saving some people from a burning building. But he's just probably broken a rubbish law in the future. You can't have your own thoughts. Downloaded.
Brain jail.
Yeah, I think I downloaded my own feelings from my computer.
Yeah. Well, I just wish you could get back your dead wife's memories and bring her back to life cryogenically.
Yeah, but the evil bloke in charge of it wasn't even voted in. He killed people to get there.
Oh, not that dictator.
Yeah, he's got it on a floppy disk.
Zordon.
Except it's not even a floppy disk by then. It's just a floppy dot. It's like a little dot, isn't it? That floats.
He's as good as written.
It's as good as Dickens.
Loser.
There wasn't much improvised in the making of it. Most of it is there on the script for us to, see.
As a tribute to the writing, it's writing that sounds improvised,
The script comes out of improvisation anyway, so as we're writing, we're sort of doing it, so we're very careful about the dialogue and the realism of that. So it seems more improvised than it is.
But again, within that, there would be times that Ricky or Steve would come up to a couple of us, or various one of us, and say, we need a scene quickly about this or something, and we need one to get us a bridge to get us from that scene into this one.
One of the times we had to do flirting, improvising, I thought, because I love my hair being played with, anyone will do really, and so I thought, oh, I'll incorporate that because he can't say no, we're on camera, and so basically he just had to play with my hair, which was really nice. Oh, bless.
So I touched your head.
Right. Carry on to my hair. And I'm going to do it a lot more in the next series. I might have a massage or something. I'd never thought of that. Great.
Everyone knew the characters so well that it was just easy to come up with those little bits of ad-lib, like at the end of episode 2 where David's on the phone, apparently he's speaking to Chris Finch and firing him, and Jennifer presses the button and it's in fact a speaking clock.
Pathetic.
Is it?
At the third stroke, the time
I checked my watch. You know, I just thought that's the Gareth thing to do. Just checks his watch just to see that it is the right time.
Just filming what's funny, just filming the comedy is all that you need to do. You don't need to get clever and tricksy and stuff. Just filming Ricky Gervais's fat, funny face is bloody hilarious.
All right, 4 eyes.
Well, don't have a go at me.
Yeah, you goggle-eyed freak, so don't
That's not fair because
Yeah.
I'm not even on. Not
And
even
also,
been on something
when you
before.
say fat face, this is a condition, so...
What condition?
Greed.
Right.
So before you insult someone, find out what it may be medically cheese.
Right.
Suffering from cheddar.
Yes, okay.
Oh, no.
Well, yesterday, in fact, on Tube, somebody said to me, "All right, Gareth, where's Ricky?" I'm like, well, what's that about? Why do I get called Gareth and he gets called by his real name? And I don't know where he is, but he's certainly not going to be on the Tube because he doesn't travel on the Tube anymore.
When I first started filming the pilot episode, Ash, our producer, had said to me, because he knew that my dad was Jasper Carrott, and he said to me, "Oh, when did you change your name to Davis?" And I said, "At what point did you think Davis was the made-up name?"
People have been asking for autographs, and they want me to write something funny, so I found myself writing "I Could Catch a Monkey." Love Mackenzie. Great. That'll be worth something.
A lot of people who sort of look at these extra sort of footage in DVDs are nerds.
Yeah, geeks, sure.
Geeks and
losers.
Yeah, probably watching this on a sunny day.
Yeah. Curtains drawn.
Yeah, spotty fat git. So what we do for them is give them some sort of real behind-the-scenes nuggets, interesting stuff. Not to us.
No.
But to them.
To them, interesting.
Yeah.
What's interesting?
Your dad?
Yeah, the guy that comes through the door in episode 6 and kind of just stares and looks at the camera, and then who also appears later in the party. He's my father, my real father. His name is Ron, and my mum's name is Elaine, and that's the name of Donna's parents.
Daughter of my best friends, Ron and Elaine.
Oh, the guy that Ricky's interviewing at the beginning of episode 1 is the guy he's firing at the end in episode 6.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Oh, you know, as you picked up on it, Gareth. Well, that's not his real name. His real name is Mackenzie Crook, and he's just an actor.
Yeah.
So, and you know that at the beginning, where I meet Ricky, and I pretend I haven't met him before. I have. I cast him as Oliver Chris. He's an actor. He's been in other stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, because you're getting a bit confused because The Office obviously is not a real office.
What's happened to it? Bankrupt. See, no one wants paper anymore. Go on.
It's just it's fake, isn't it? It's just a make believe. It's like a set.
What do they sell?
Who?
Not paper.
Who?
All the people that work there.
They don't work there. They're actors.
Oh, temping. Acting's a hard business. 90% of the time they'll probably be working in offices.
Can we switch it off because I need
a Scotch egg.
Need a Scotch egg and needs to lie down. Can we get Ricky Gervais's hammock? Just bring that in.
I'd love a hammock.